Hello everyone and welcome back. This is Tom from Nuke Web Tips. In this part of the tutorial we are going to talk about things like importing the 3D model to the stage, setting the stage, creating the background and all the stuff, loading textures, loading models, controlling the group of models using 3.js engine. And for this project, guys and girls, we are going to have to install this type of stuff. It's a remote server. It's a local host server on which you can set the Apache server and MySQL database server. So we need this because if we go to our project and press F12, and there's the console. If we, for example, go to the local file, I'm going to the local file right now, and if we basically do something like this, it won't turn on because it's the path is directing it to the physical file on the computer, and in the console you will see in the console of this window you will see that it does not you can see it XML HTTP request cannot load file. That's the path to the file. Cross-origin requests are only supported for protocol names like HTTP data, Chrome extension, HTTPS, Chrome extension resource, and none of which here fulfills that requirements. Thus far, it does not work. But if I switch on the local server and I go to localhost and type in the rest of the path, it works like a charm. So let's jump straight to it. First of all, you will need a HTML editor, CSS editor, JavaScript editor, and by that I mean you need something to highlight the code, like I have in this brackets editor. I think it's very, very cool. It's free. First of all, you have a lot of a lot of extensions, so you can build your programming skills upon that tool, because it's very reliable and it's very good. So the main three files that we are going to focus on right now are index HTML, main scene JS, and style CSS. We want to get this one out of the way, so we have two files to play with left. The CSS file is the basic setup. I set the overflow of the body element to hidden, and I set some font family. I import it from the local folder, but you can as well use the CDN resource. So that's basically it. We are getting it out of the way in just a second. I will just mention this container over here, this ID container, and this one basically controls the container in which we are going to initiate canvas for the browser. And in that canvas we will load the 3D model and do all the magic related to it. So that one I set the Z index to 100, position absolute. I wanted to be displayed on the screen, so I type in display block, float left, so it floats to the left. Overflow hidden, that's very important, because otherwise you will have those scroll bars all over the screen, and you don't want that in your project, do you? So basically that's it. So let's get rid of that one and let's jump into the index HTML. in which I have the basic setup. As you can see, duck type HTML, which means that's the HTML5 format, title, meta, link. I attached this style sheet which we just turned off, switched off. I type in the path, and that's the main actor on that in our project, the container ID, because in this one we will we will load the three.js library, as well as our objects and we will render them as 3D models, able to be rotated, zoomed in and zoomed out and whatnot. So and on the bottom of our setup we have a three.js library path, JSON loader. The JSON loader is basically that's the library that will help us load those. You will see it over here. It will help us load all of those 3D models exported from the Blender. I believe I just clicked on one of them, and they are very compressed data, so the program tends to freeze when it hits something like that. So don't be surprised, it will freeze out. Anyway, we'll take this out of the way for a second. Here you can see the complete project. The next tutorial, let me know guys if you want to see some buttons, interaction with the model. Basically for now I can show you how to, and there it goes. It just switched on and off because I quickly clicked off that the JSON model. But anyways, we will end up with something looking like this. Your project might vary. You might have I don't know, sports company, shoes, whatever you want, like some machine controlled type of stuff. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but whatever. Okay guys, so let me take you through all the stages of setting it up. As I mentioned before, we have those it does not work. It still does not work. That's strange. Let me just turn it off. Or will it? Let me just turn it off quickly using a task manager. That always works. End the task. There it goes. Let me fire it up once again. There we go. Now we have our project. Also guys, if you're wondering if I leave some project material on my website, isn't quite done yet, so I'm leaving all the source code on my GitHub page. You can find it over here in tutorials and 3D showcase. For now it's only one. I don't have time to open a vast production of videos, so every time I find some free time, I do those videos. I hope you don't mind it. So that's the final product once again, and let's jump straight to the code. We have our scene. Hold on a second. That's the index file, and where is my scene? Not JS. This one, it should be over here. Main scene. So that's the last file loaded, and in this scene we define some variables, the scene, camera, renderer, controls. I believe that's for because I've done this project so long ago that I don't even know what the particular variables do. Var screen width, screen height, and you know what that goes for. Loader and model. Loader function is basically a thing that helps us to load all the things onto this stage, and in three.js there are, I believe, there should be two. Render and animate, and that one isn't necessary, but there are two main functions. Init, which stands for initialize or initialization, and renderer, which basically loops through our code. And in this example, I basically said to the render that I want the group of objects, which are the rails, the seat, to rotate along the object axis with this speed. So let's go up, and then in the init function we define a scene, new tree scene. That's the basic setup for three.js. I will also have it on my GitHub source page, so be sure to check that. Renderer, we set the clear color, so we want the background to be transparent. And also in the renderer we define anti-alias to true and alpha to true. What alpha does is basically lets the scene be allows the scene to be transparent. Controls, yeah, I knew that stood for the controls. So here I define the orbit controls. If you don't remember, orbit controls is the second to the last library loaded, which is the main scene, the main driving scene driving library, and orbit controls is the second to the last one that is being defined. So let's jump to the main scene and look at it once more. Controls, new orbit controls. What do I control? Camera and the in the DOM element, which is our canvas. Controls, here I set the rate for each interaction. Camera position, you know what it is, on the X, Y, and Z axis. And remember, guys, it's not like in Blender. Here the X, Y is the side, top, bottom, and the depth axis. And also we tell the camera to look at the scene, so it always looks at the scene, not the opposite direction or whatever it may look. Here we define, I believe, three basic lights, one hemisphere light and two spotlights in different positions, X, Y, Z. As you can see, each of the light is white. That's the hex code, and this one is a little bit transparent. And so let's jump straight to the things that we basically struggled with through all the series of tutorials, and that's loading the JSON files, the 3D models, onto the stage. So we have our basic loader function, and we call the method in that function. We call the path to the 3D model, and then we initiate the function on basically when this one is loaded, this function is being initiated, and that function, what it does, it takes out the geometry and the materials objects from the JSON file, from the 3D file, and it defines the material for the objects and its geometry. You see the material and mesh. So we define those, and we set the object. We created the object over here. So we have a mesh, and onto that mesh there's a geometry of this mesh, and the material being loaded onto it. Then we set our defined object. We set the scale to it. That's what stands for the M scale. If you haven't seen this, it's somewhere over here. That's the M scale. If I were to put something like this, I don't know if it will make any difference, guys. So let me pass in some big numbers, and I have no idea what it will do. So it's basically scales the model. We can zoom. We don't have that flexibility with zooming in and out, but you get the idea of what that variable stands for. So let's revert it to the previous stage, which was 10, and let's go to the rest of the loader function, and that is setting the scale to our factor. And position, and we basically most of the times you want to put the 0 position, which is XYZ axis. It's in the dead center of the stage, and then after we've done all that, we initiate the group add method, which basically we created the group over here. So it should be over here. Somewhere over here, group. You can see we are defining the group, and it's basically a 3D object of the tree library, and we add to that group our object, our loaded object. And I did it for all of our models, the models that we extracted from the Blender, and that is legs, front legs, back rail, hinges. If it does have any, I thought it was like not molten, but what's the word, welded. But anyways, caps, that's the rail caps, and in the end we type in the container reference of the for our jQuery. Basically, by calling the object like that, we refer to the jQuery library, because that's the the flagship function for wrapping something in an object. So we type in the container, and we point with this. We point to this thing little here, the one and only element on our scene, and we basically append it to the renderer. So we append the renderer to this DOM element. So what this function does is basically loads the whatever we have in our canvas, in our WebGL, whatever we have over there, to show it onto the container. So the container becomes infected like an alien. Function renderer, I've mentioned it before, that goes for the loop type of situation of this old project. So renderer basically renders the whatever we have loaded onto our scene. It renders it onto the viewport of our web browser. Function animate, I don't want to delete it, but I believe if I did, it wouldn't make any difference. So I'm gonna leave it just like that. I'm gonna check check with with the internet. I'm gonna check if it's really that necessary or not, and I will let you know in the comment section below if you want, or ask me if you won't. So and we initialize the function because it's still a function. This init function initialize a function, so we have to basically call for it, and it's being called for over here. And in the end, I have added some code of mine, which basically resizes the model, the canvas, and the window to the user preference. So, for example, if we do something like this, and in the object it's being loaded, if we resize the viewport, we will resize along with it the model and the viewport and the beautiful gradient behind. And that's my invention, artistic. So guys, let's get back to this window. That's basically it. You will have the code. You will have the code of this project in the description box below. Tell me what you think about it. In the next video, I hope I will do this, switching texture type of situation, type of stuff. So you can harness the power of this neatly done little thing, which is three.js. So till next time, guys, and I hope you love this one. See you around.